Welcome to Wordplay Wednesday. Today we are going to be looking at 3 words from the short story, The Baroness. We're going to dive right in and I'm going to share my screen with you. Let's get started. Let's see here. In this story, The Baroness, you will find 16 SAT words. So if you are looking at increasing your vocabulary, this is a great way to do it. Let's see. Why is it? Okay, it is going to do that. And then I'm going to go and put this up here. All right, here we go. All right, so on your screen, you should see it says Wordplay Wednesday. Build your vocabulary with interesting words from the short story, The Baroness. Not only are they interesting words, they're also words from the SAT 6000 word list. So if you are looking at building your vocabulary, there are some specific words in here that are from that list, so you can particularly build that vocabulary. This story was aired on Saturday Stories, Season 4, Episode 5. Go to Saturday Stories, listen to the story if you haven't already, and you will be able to read more of those words, see how they're used in context. This story, The Baroness, by Guy de Maupassant. Our first word is recourse. Recourse is an opportunity or choice to do something or to use something in order to deal with a problem or a situation. Perhaps you've heard this word used. Here's how it's used in the story. Men of the best society had had recourse to him in times of difficulty, either to find money for gambling or to pay off a debt, or to sell a picture, a family jewel, or a tapestry. So if the word means an opportunity or choice to use or do something in order to deal with a problem or situation, does that word make sense in this context? Men of the best society had had recourse to him in times of difficulties. So recourse meaning the opportunity to use or do something in order to deal with a problem, which makes sense in this context. They are finding recourse either to find money, for gambling, to pay off a debt, or to sell a picture or family jewels, and it's giving you this list of the recourse they had. Here's how you might use it in a modern day sentence outside of this story context. His only recourse is to file a complaint with management. Recourse, again, being an opportunity or choice to use or do something in order to deal with a problem. So they're saying the only way to deal with this problem was to file a complaint with management. So in this case, that word recourse makes sense in the context. There are some synonyms that we could use in place of this word recourse. The thing with synonyms is we want to make sure that the nuance of the word matches the context. Otherwise, it doesn't line up and it doesn't quite fit. It's like you have a puzzle piece and it looks sort of the same and you try jamming it together and it kind of works. You get the general picture, but when you have a good match, then you can tell for sure that it belongs there. So option, possibility, alternative, resort, hope. Let's try some of these words in that story. So let's see. Option. Men of the best society had had the option. to him in difficulty, in times of difficulty, we would have to say men of the best society had the option to find money for gambling. The option to him, see, it doesn't quite fit. You'd have to rework this whole thing. An option sounds like you have alternatives, where recourse, it's like, this is the only thing we've got going for us here. Possibility. Men of the best society had the possibility, or he had made it possible. Again, a tough fit. Alternative, resort. Let's try resort. Men of the best society had to resort to finding money for gambling or paying off a debt, had to resort to talking to him about, and then you get this whole convoluted thing. It looks like recourse is the best word for that context. Our next word this morning is discreet. Used to suggest that someone is being careful about not allowing something to be known or noticed by many people. You might know somebody who is discreet. In the story, let's see who is discreet. She had to maintain her household expenses and continue to entertain. This is talking about the Baroness. In order not to lose the opportunity of finding, among her numerous visitors, the discreet and distinguished friend for whom she was waiting and whom she would choose. So she was looking for a discreet and distinguished friend. Discreet meaning somebody who is careful about not allowing things to be known. And she was looking for this kind of person. Here's how you might use it in a conversation or in your own writing. She was always very discreet about her personal life. Or you could say, Janet is always very discreet about her personal life. I don't know much about it. If somebody is discreet, they're careful about what they allow people to know. He made discreet inquiries about the job. So he doesn't want people to know that he's looking for another job. Perhaps this is you on LinkedIn. You're being discreet, you're looking at stuff, but you're doing it very carefully. And here are some synonyms. Speaking of carefully, careful is a synonym of discreet. Wary. Now, wary is more, it has more of a cautious tone to it. Guarded, again, very keeping things close to you. Diplomatic. That's an interesting synonym. So you're giving information kind of in a roundabout way. Prudent being very careful. Now let's see if some of those words would fit into this context. So here we go. She had to maintain her household expenses and continue to entertain in order not to lose the opportunity of finding among her numerous visitors the discreet and distinguished friend for whom she was waiting and whom she would choose. So she had to keep up appearances in order to find the person she was looking for. Now, if we want to use discreet, let's see, careful. The careful and distinguished friend. Careful doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Plus, we get a little bit of this alliteration going on with the discreet and distinguished. So it flows off your tongue nicely. So that is also a consideration when playing with words and the sound of words and how the reader is going to enjoy those words. Wary. The wary and distinguished friend. I don't know that she wants a wary friend, a friend who is kind of a little bit nervous about everything. She's more looking for somebody who is not going to blab all her secrets. Let's try one more. Diplomatic. So here, diplomatic and distinguished. So we have that alliteration, so that that is good. But is she looking for somebody who is diplomatic? Diplomatic being friendly. Excuse me. So somebody who is the diplomatic and distinguished friend. So the friend who can turn things to sound appropriate for everybody, or the person who can kind of keep a secret to themselves and not even give hints about it unless it's appropriate. So I think diplomatic doesn't work there as well. And prudent. So there we have some synonyms. And again, the flavor of the word, the nuance of the word must match the context and the purpose of the word in the story, or the essay, or the email, or whatever it is that you're writing. The next word is render. To give something to someone is to render. Now, there are other meanings for this word as well. This morning, we're just looking at this meaning to give someone something, to render service. Several times I have been able to render little services to this woman. So he's talking about giving something, offering a service to the Baroness. And this word render is a more formal way to say that they are offering services. In an informal way, now we might say, he witnessed a car accident and stopped to render aid or assistance. So he stopped to give aid or stopped to give assistance. And again, this is a more formal word. Here are some synonyms. Some of them are less formal and ones that you might hear more commonly in everyday language. Give. Several times I have been able to give little services to this woman. So that word would work here, except for the fact that the whole tone of the story is more formal, and we're talking about a baroness. And so we want to elevate the language a little bit, and it creates this tone for the story. So that's why the word render works better than the word give, even though they would mostly fit. Provide. That might work. Several times I've been able to provide. That works. Furnish, extend, exhibit. Now, exhibit I don't think would work very well. Several times I've been able to exhibit little services to this woman. Exhibit meaning show, which doesn't really seem to fit the context very well. All right, a little recap, and we have 3 words for you to use this week. Recourse, the opportunity or choice to use or do something in order to deal with a problem or a situation. Do you have any? What recourse do you have? What opportunity or choice do you have to solve the problem? Discreet. Being careful about not allowing something to be made known. How discreet can you be when somebody gives you some information? And render, to give somebody something. Can you render a service to somebody this week? So there you have it. 3 SAT words from the story by Guy de Maupassant, The Baroness. And on Friday, I invite you to join me for the 7-sentence story workshop webinar, where we will be going through the writing process, start to finish, thinking, writing, revising. So you can see how we will use some of these words in the story, how we're going to take a story that is known and create an outline, see how we get from the outline to the draft, and see how we can do some revisions. So come on Friday to the 7-sentence story workshop. If you are watching this at a later date, you can always sign up and watch the replay. And until next time, keep reading and writing.